Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode two of the Missing Musician podcast. I'm here with my guest, Nate Steckler. Very, very excited to have him on. Been wanting him on for a long time. We're recording this podcast in hopes of uncovering some of the new developments in the world of Nate Steckler, being that he has been cooking some things up, and I think, we're all very excited to hear about it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Nate Steckler. How you doing, Nate? We've been very gentle with Nate. Now, if you hear the camera make a beep sound, it means we have to restart it, because my camera has a weird thing with, it's like, for some reason, it only can record half an hour at a time.
Oh, it's probably just on an automatic,
it doesn't let
thing.
me record more than half hour at a time. What the hell did I do?
Okay, wait,
Here,
I'll just
keep circling this one around you.
That's a good plan.
You've got lightning on your tongue. You're taller than everyone. But I know what you are, no brighter than the bar. You stumble out to your car and then you call. But still I come and take you home and stay with you. Andy, why do you do this, oh Andy? Well, can't you tell me, oh Andy? Andy, I wanna leave. I said I wanna leave, oh Andy, and oh, I know what you are, even when you start being mean on my heart and pulling you all apart. I know what you are, you're brighter than a star, picking out my scars, oh when you call. But still I come and take you home and stay with you. But still I come and take you home and stay with you. I stay with you.
So as I'm sure you all do as well, I have a lot of questions for Nate. I met Nate like 2 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm. At that show.
Was it Sarah's thing?
Sarah's
yeah.
thing. Yep.
And Nate was playing keyboard. And I didn't really get a sense of his music then because they were just doing covers. But then I stumbled upon his music online, and I was really excited by that because it was just very unique and super chordally rich and beautiful. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But Nate has recently been working on some new stuff, and his sound has changed a little bit. He came out with a new single called Big Blind, and it is, I wouldn't say vastly different, but it's a big turn.
It's a big jump, yeah.
And it's very cool. So I want to talk a little about what sparked that stylistic change.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for the.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, the first music I ever put out was it was just like the first try, the first iteration of like what I thought I could do. So I don't want to like downplay it, but it was like kind of half baked a little bit. But I think this is just sort of after almost 2 years, I guess, of sort of developing a sound. It's where I've landed, and it's, yeah, I'm just focused a little more on the sonics and letting things be imperfect and
Right.
letting it live in little worlds rather than, I don't know, keeping it contained.
Right. And one thing I noticed too, I mean, I haven't known you for that long, so it's not like I've seen your whole journey, but I feel like you were very much keyboard focused
Totally.
earlier on, and now it seems like you've kind of become guitar focused, at least in your songwriting. What do you think that was?
Yeah, well, I've been playing piano since I was 6, on and off until, I'd say, about high school, and then I had teachers up until then, and then I sort of went off and did my own thing, started writing, and that's what the first things I ever put out, that's what they were, just those piano compositions. And it was just the only thing I knew, and sort of the only way I knew how to sort of talk in any way musically. And when you do one thing for that long, it can get kind of like, just it's not as inspiring anymore if it's just like the same things you've done forever and the same chords and the same just like even like frequency range of a piano or something. It's just like doesn't do anything for me as much anymore.
Doesn't feel fresh anymore.
Yeah, so then I think it was my parents got me a guitar when I graduated high school, I think. Right around then they got me a little acoustic, and I was pretty immediately just drawn to how seemingly much more expressive you can be sort of right off the bat from guitar, which you totally can be very expressive on piano, but it's
contrast.
Yeah.
It just felt new. And
yeah, and just like there's so much
harder.
More. Absolutely, yeah. And just like it's a little more. It's kind of an intimate instrument holding a guitar rather than piano, which has always felt kind of like very what's
detached.
Not necessarily detached, but like I don't want to say pretentious, but kind of like very proper. Like you play piano and you're like,
that's
I'm
what
going
it can
to play
feel
piano
like.
now. Like, okay.
Right.
So guitar has just always been a little more casual, and I think in that has let it live in a more comfortable place as far as writing goes, because you kind of have to be for writing.
Yeah.
For good writing, I think.
Right. So that's what worked for you.
Yeah. And yeah, I love guitar. It's so fun.
It is.
There's just so much to explore, and yeah, it's great.
And you were pretty jazz focused, right? On the keys. How has that translated over onto guitar for you? Have you was it a struggle trying to kind of download all of that technical and theoretical information over onto the guitar?
A little bit. Not really, because when I first picked up guitar, I was just learning shapes and stuff. I wasn't learning like how the shapes interacted with each other. Just like this is the chord and this is the next chord. That like jazz chords, so they're kind of like complex or something. But so I wasn't really thinking about it as far as like bringing one thing to the other. It was just kind of like guitar and piano separately. But as I'm doing it more and more, they definitely kind of like influence each other, and like even some like jazz voicings and jazz ideas have sort of come back in different ways in my learning of guitar as well. So it's but yeah, I don't consider myself like a jazz musician anymore. I'm not sure I really ever did. I was just like super into like Stevie Wonder when I was growing up. So I was like, oh, I got to learn
it's a gateway,
all his changes and all however that works and all that. So like,
now, like since the big shift Do you feel like the subject matter in your lyrics has changed as well?
Yeah, I think
is there like an overall theme that has shifted along with the sound?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like my whole purpose for writing music has changed entirely. When I first started, it was like I need to tell my story. I need to tell like what I'm actually thinking in my head, and like
that's how it was before.
Yeah,
right.
Like with my old stuff, right? Especially when I first started singing, I was like, okay, this is what I have to say and what I'm feeling, which for me is honestly not the best way to do it, because
like being overly transparent or straightforward.
Yeah, just like telling things exactly how it is, I guess, which you definitely can do like tastefully, but I just never figured out how. Because as soon as I started writing more or less stories and things based on feelings or things that I've experienced in real life, it just kind of like opened it up, because like it was no longer so pressured to get like what happened in real life right. It's more about like make a compelling story. And
right.
So with Big Blind, that was the first time I tried that, where it was like not like hyper specific, but like the feelings and the things that take place during that song aren't specific to my life, but like I've felt what I'm trying to convey pretty specifically. So I was just trying to get it like streamlined or something, just not so literal. And with the stuff I've been working on now, it's in the same way. It's like little pieces of me rather than like exactly how it is, because people don't need to know all that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like you're you could take something that happened or whatever the song is about and sort of create an interpretive painting of it, where it could be in someone else's eyes completely abstract, but you can still see how it resembles what it was. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it. I mean, for me, like, I feel like I'm the opposite. I'm always afraid of like being too literal, and then people being like, "Oh, this is a dumb fucking song."
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah. The subject matter's stupid, because they could see, exactly what I'm talking about, and I was afraid that like they'd judge whatever I was talking about, judge me. So I feel like I've been too cryptic.
Yeah.
And it works for some things, but it's like in other, I don't know, it can also get in my way. Like if there's something that I really strongly want to convey, but I'm like working too hard to try to beat
Make
around
it cryptic,
then it can. And like I really admire songwriters who can be very, very, dead to the point, like not using any analogies or like I feel like Elliott Smith is someone who does both.
Totally.
Like he can be super dead to the point and make it sound very powerful and poetic, and then also you look at his lyrics and you have no fucking clue what he's talking about,
totally.
but both sound amazing. What are most of your songs about? If you could
mostly about like, honestly, they're just like relationships and relationships with different people in my life. I found that's the most interesting thing for me to write about. It's kind of like risky or something, but then like hiding it in stories makes it fine. So
it's kind of exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah. Just people, I guess, feelings around people. But I'd like to break out of that eventually. I think that's just where I'm at right now. Even with the stuff I'm working on, like, and the style of writing I've been working towards, it's like, it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, I need to move on and try something else soon.
So like when you're inspired to write a song, or I don't know what usually sparks something for you, but when you are inspired to write a song, is it very like lyrically, is it very feeling based, like you just kind of go where it leads you, or do you have to sit down and like think of a concept?
I'd say both. I think
Yeah.
different kinds of songs yield kind of different kind of processes. It really depends. Like sometimes there's things that I'm just processing in my life that like I want to write about, and that makes it pretty specific. Like I don't have to think of a concept. I can just like, this is a thing, this is a feeling or something, like something I can pull from that makes it easy to write about. Or I'll be like, okay, I want to write this kind of story because I like those kinds of stories for whatever reason, or something, this kind of song with this, whatever. I don't know which is easier.
Yeah.
But both are kind of like, they both happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do a mix of both. You're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's easier when you don't have to think of a concept or any of that. It's just like,
Yeah, definitely.
but also
It'd be
then
nice
it's-
if that's always how it was. And
Right,
it just
but-
came out perfect.
yeah, but then you're fighting yourself to be like not too literal and not too cryptic,
Right.
and well, that we were saying when it's like
Right.
you have you know exactly what it is, but
Trying to break your own patterns.
but you definitely can. Like I know I have a lot of friends who write about things in their lives, and it seems like they like it's not in any way like weird or too literal or something. And some of that is probably from the writing, but a lot of it is probably just like getting out of their own heads and just being like, yeah, this is fine. Like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So,
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot.
Some people are just
To
less
that.
self-conscious too.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. Also, I don't think it's the only reason that like I get too cryptic. I don't think the only reason for that is that I'm like scared what people will think, but I think it's also just like me not really knowing what to write about exactly, or being very confused about a certain like feeling of like not being satisfied about something, or just
Sure.
like being upset about something, but
Yeah.
not being able to quite pin down what it is.
No, yeah, I
and
totally get
having all
that,
these
yeah.
weird kind of vague feelings and thoughts, and trying to kind of weave that into something.
Yeah. It's like impossible for me to write about something like while it's happening. Like
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Oh, really? It has to be in hindsight.
It has to be in hindsight, or I just have to know exactly what's going on. Like I can't. I mean, I can. I just don't really like it. Like I've tried to be like, I'd like process something through writing a song, and it just like doesn't work for me. Which is funny because a lot of people are like, "Oh, music is like my therapy," which of course it is, but also like, not for me really.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it is, because it's like the reason I do anything.
Right.
So in that, it's like comforting, but it's not like processing my life
Right.
with
It's
music.
not your
just,
therapist.
Yeah.
When the time comes to try to process
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I'm more concerned with making something sound cool.
Yeah.
So
Right. It's like it's your baby.
yeah.
This is a very difficult question and kind of like paradoxical, because you can't answer it in the way that it should be answered. But what do you think makes music objectively good? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's not really up to me. It's kind of up to like the listener, I guess. Well, I don't know. Are you want my like, what is perfect music to me?
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like, do you believe? This is almost like a religious question. You know what I'm saying?
Like on a spiritual level.
Yeah. Because I feel like I've always had a little snob in me who's like, you know what? I know what's good. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I'm not like the world's finest critic, but I can separate like I can separate good music from bad music. Like, for example, anything like up on the bubblegum pop charts, right? It's
Sure.
like it's just put out very quick. It's made on a laptop. It's like the same formula over and over. There's not a lot of like subtlety or variation to it. Would you say that is objectively like cheap music, or is it just because there's so much of it and it's so successful and so formulated that we like have all collectively agreed that it's bad? Like if it was rare,
I don't know. It's really like people like what they like, so who am I to say what's good and bad?
Right.
Like that's I don't know. I like it when I think perfect music is music that's not trying to be perfect, I guess. And if you can get that through a laptop making bubblegum pop, then great.
Right.
Like I don't think it's defined by like genre or
No.
by anything really. It's just kind of like maybe intention a little bit, or maybe
intention.
just like I don't even know. I don't know.
It's such a complicated thing because there's so many different angles to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think too deeply about like good music and bad music, because I mean I've been there. It's like, oh, this is shit.
Yeah.
This is fucking shit, because it's like it's all the same or something. But it's like, and then you meet someone who loves whoever, who loves this kind of music, and it's
and you're
like not
I
your thing
don't
at
like
all.
this person very much.
But they're like, that's like they love it. Like they have so much feeling and like memories or something attached to some, and then it's like, oh well, who am I to say what's good and bad when everyone has their own shit?
Yeah, I mean that's the baseline, but I'm trying to like dig a little deeper here and see if we can decode this, because I don't know. I can't accept that. Part of me can't accept that there is anything like objective in the world at all. But then the other part of me also can't accept that it's that simple as to where everything is completely subjective.
I mean, maybe.
Like, I don't know. I feel like I wish there was some kind of scientific rule about this, because I feel like science you could call objective.
Well, that's what I like about music. There's no rules.
Right,
it's
there's
just
no
like,
rules.
do what you want.
Yeah, that's true.
And hang out. And
just hang out with the people who maybe you gravitate towards the same music with.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man.
It's a hard
maybe
question.
you're just fucked.
So, when's your EP coming out?
I'm thinking August, sometime mid-August.
Yeah.
Probably like a couple tracks, nothing crazy.
Couple?
Like 5.
Couple is 2.
Okay, 5.
Is this all of the stuff that you've been working on distilled down into 5 solid tracks that you're happy with, or is this like 5 things that you have been very focused on and consciously trying to put into a EP?
Yeah, they're very individual. Like it's not. It's kind of just like a collection of things I've been thinking about and sort of styles, I guess, and just it's definitely like development. Feels like a development project more than like this is a project.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the intention is on like individual track level rather than like a whole project.
Yeah. Kind of a compilation feel.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's gonna have a theme, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like they're correlated but not connected. So like,
maybe like sonically connected, but maybe not as much.
Yeah.
Topically,
there's a little there's a little through line, but not super. It's pretty loose.
Yeah.
The whole like writing stories, writing things not about my real life, it sort of lends itself to be a little more like short stories in a short story book or something, rather than a chapter book or something, Yeah.
Rather than a novel.
A novel.
Yeah. I guess what I meant by the like distilled down was like, have you created a bunch of other stuff and you just kind of like narrowed it down to those 5, or were you just working on 5 songs?
I write songs pretty slow, so I mean, yeah, they're not really. I don't really have a ton else. I have some things, but like I'll work on one song for a few days until it's written, and then I'll produce it for weeks, and then yeah. So I wouldn't say I've got like a backlog of other stuff that I'm working on, but
Okay.
which is fine because again, it's like these are things I'm trying and things I'm thinking about, and not like, I don't know. I never want to like pound something till it can't breathe. Like you just gotta get what you get out of trying something, I guess. And
Right.
and that's what these are, which I think is cool. Look at that deer.
Yeah. Just eating the chicken food. They always eat the chicken food. Somebody shared a little reel of like a snippet from a Chick Corea interview, and he was talking about how the really like the ultimate goal as a songwriter or a musical artist should be to discover what you truly find beautiful, like what is on the deepest level most true to you in terms of what you find beautiful, and not being swayed by other people's projections and like, or whatever is out there in the world. And how that can be a very difficult thing. Like it's deceptively hard because we're always sucking up all this information, and we're influenced by the people around us and the music around us and the ideas around us. I'm sure, that's been said many times, but I was like, wow, that's such a good thing to start with, if you're trying to do music.
Sure.
And I feel like sometimes that is what kind of hinders us from, creating our best work, obviously, because our best work is going to be what is the most true to ourselves and what we find the most beautiful, not what other people find the most beautiful, because that's like you're really speaking from your soul. What do you think is, for people, and myself included, and probably you too, pretty much everyone, I feel like, who are struggling to find that like what is really, genuinely beautiful to you? Not that we can't do it, but like sometimes you struggle, like you get stuck in the same old ruts and patterns, whatever it might be in your songwriting process harmonically. What is the best way to try to go back into that self-discovery and try to really dig up what it is that makes you tick?
Yeah, I mean, definitely just learning a new thing like every day, or learning something like
exposure
and getting past procrastination. Just like knowing that if you learn something, that you can use it, and so just learning as much as you can. And,
right, because the more you do, the quicker you're going to get there.
Absolutely.
In some cases, I guess, not necessarily. What would you say, like, if keep going if you had more to say, but just to like go against that a little bit, if somebody is just constantly exposing themselves to things, learning new things, listening to all kinds of music, playing all kinds of music, and they still feel like there's this weird disconnect between what they are trying to create or play and what they actually feel like, gets them. How do you try to, where do you go to dig for that? Because there's definitely cases where people, they just can't find their sound, or, like it's...
Well, it definitely takes time and a lot of like marinating in different ideas and processes, I guess. But I don't know. Keep trying, keep going, I guess, because if you stop, then that's it. So
Right, that is it.
Um,
There's no point in stopping. I guess you could take breaks. That can help.
I mean, I definitely still feel like I'm in that kind of like self-discovery and like
Yeah.
unsure of where exactly I want to go.
Yeah,
But
of course.
I used to feel pretty negatively about that. Like, oh, why can't I just do what I want? Why can't I just be happy with the things I make, or just be excited about what I'm doing myself when I just feel like I can't, or everyone else is just like so good or so cool.
Right.
And I'm not sure that ever like entirely goes away. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe when you're like 80 or something that goes away. But like
Probably not. I feel like that's just part of being human is.
But I think if you can just sort of let go of your like your expectations of what you think you can do, and just kind of go and then see what happens. I don't think, what I found is that you're less satisfied in the moment, but then you make something and then look back on it and it's like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
like, wow, that was actually pretty cool. I just recently, I was driving up to Northern California from Southern California, which is like 6 hours. And I was going back through like old projects that I'll probably never put out, just like demos and production things. I was like, oh yeah, I was actually doing something here. When in the moment I was like, ugh, this is whatever. So if you can create without the intention of like every single person in the world knowing that you're creating, and just doing it like for yourself, I guess, that's probably the best way to go, which I have found is again like less satisfying, but still the most like, I don't know, maybe most effective way to get better, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, like you said, you create something, and while you're doing it, it's not hitting you in the right way, and you're just like, I don't feel good about this, and you come back to it, and then it hits you.
Sometimes,
like,
I mean,
is that maybe like, because I feel like that's almost showing that it's either, I mean, you could have, like, your taste could have changed over that period of time, or maybe while you're doing it, there's some kind of a blockage that's like some part of you is not realizing what it's hearing, and getting in the way of you being able to like know what you like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't got figured it out really either, but
yeah,
I think just to continue going and continue making and not being afraid to be inspired by other people and take things from other people.
Yeah.
Really lets you like get a move on or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Some shit like that.
Some shit like that.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a good question at all. We can always cut it out if it goes nowhere, but what is creativity? How would you define it?
Like, which part of creativity? Like, thinking?
All of it.
I don't know.
What is it to you, Nate?
I guess it's like thinking of things you think are cool and then making them. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
that's an adequate
or just
definition.
like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's just, it's
what?
It's nothing special. It's just like thinking of things differently, trying to think of things differently, and then seeing what happens, and then going from there.
Creativity at the root, is it like, fuck, I can't think of the word. Fuck, let me look it up real quick. God, I'm such an idiot. I need to go back to school. Deviating, that's the word I'm looking for. Do you think at the root creativity is deviating from whatever is set in place.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I think to improve at thinking creatively, it is like getting away from what's comfortable. Because then if you're doing the same thing over and over, you're just going to lose your mind. And
Right.
That's not
creative.
really. I mean,
Fuck
it
that.
was at one point. So you just need
Right.
to like,
It's just
okay,
creating new
what's next?
paths.
Yeah. And then taking whatever from each thing you've done
Right.
and
Right.
never staying still, I guess. But
That seems to be really well, I guess it depends. Sometimes I feel like you need to stop moving for a second.
yeah.
Because it's a fine line of balance between moving all the time, or like staying loose and keeping yourself out of holes or like procrastination, and then also learning to pause and orient yourself. Because if you're constantly moving, you might just be stuck in the same loop and you think you're going off in different ways, but you're just not taking enough time to assess your surroundings and try to make a more calculated or mindful decision about which way you're going.
There's definitely a lot to it and a lot of like perspectives that are good to have, but I don't know. There's no right way to do it. You just kind of got to keep doing it and then figure it out.
Just keep
on the way.
Keep moving every once in a while at least.
Yeah.
I want to stop for a long period of time. So I don't know why this came to me, but can you just for a second just imagine with me so you're like, hey, I'm sorry to like kill the vibe here, but I don't really feel like, having that thing up my ass. And she just like starts breaking down. Right? It's okay, we can skip that one. Okay, well, kind of going along that same vein, but a little less difficult to answer, or a little less long-winded. How do you feel, and I'm being serious, how do you feel regular masturbation affects like your creativity and your ethic as a musician? I want you to answer seriously, because I know you could be all jokey about it, but like I feel like that's an actual topic for discussion.
I don't know. Probably.
Do you have some kind of an ultimate goal?
I'd like a house and I'd like a dog. Yeah, that I can support myself. So I guess that's the goal.
With music, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with music.
But still I come and take you home and stay